Today's episode is sponsored by Geopetric. Geopetric loves your pet. Their goal is to provide quality, first, eco-friendly pet products. They offer stylish apparel to represent the connection you and your pet have. Geopetric is embedded with the conscientious consumer in mind. That's why their gear is made in America, providing fair wage employment using eco-friendly material, including recycled bottles and vegan cork leather. Geopetric is also extremely charitable. They continue to partner with animal rescue and adoption programs across the globe to support their fundraising efforts with donations. When you shop, you save. Shelter animals across the globe appreciate the kindness and compassion of their shoppers. Another cool thing about Geopetric, they allow you to pup cycle your old gear. Do you have old collars and leashes sitting around? Don't throw that stuff away. Send it to your pals at Geopetric to get an amazing discount on your next purchase. Get it? Pup cycle? Yeah, you got it. You can visit Geopetric on their website at www.geopetric.com. That's GEOPETRIC.com. Geopetric. If you use the special promo code Doggenstein20, you'll receive 20% off your next order. Doggenstein, of course, being the Instagram name that we use for our dogs here at the Shameless Picture Show. My dogs, Ralphie and Frankenstein, you can find them on Instagram under the name Doggenstein. So, once again, that's DOGENSTEIN20, all one word, to get your special 20% off. So, once again, visit them at www.geopetric.com and find some cool stuff. Before we start this episode, I just want to pay a little tribute to one of my favorite character actors of all time. He has showed up in a lot of films I've loved, and he's very famously a that guy actor. He's an actor I'm sure you all know the face of, even if you don't know who he is. This past week, at least famous to me, actor Dick Miller passed away at the age of 90. Fantastic talent. He's got just a really rough, interesting voice and face, and has left an indelible mark on myself and a lot of other cinephiles. Yeah, some of you might know one of his best performances ever was Roger Corman's Bucket of Blood, but a lot of you guys will know him as the crotchety neighbor in Gremlins 1 and 2. He's the garbage man in The Burbs. He worked a lot of Joe Dante, and he was in a deleted scene in Pulp Fiction. Just look up Dick Miller. You'll know him. You'll know his face. And yeah, he's no longer with us, so I'm just going to play you a little bit of an interview he did once upon a time that I really appreciate, and then we'll start the show as normal.
I didn't work again as an actor until I was much later after the service. I was with a friend of mine, and we were going up to meet Roger, purely social. In the conversation, he said, "Where are you from?" "I'm from New York." "What do you do?" "I'm a writer." "Oh yeah, well I don't need any writers. I need actors." I said, "I'm an actor." He says, "All right, fine. You want to play an Indian for me?" I said, "Sure, play an Indian for me." Started off as a low man on a totem pole, but the actors, Lance Fuller, I remember, was one of the actors, and they said, "Well, you got to shoot this guy." He said, "Well, I'm busy up here. I'm in a good position. Dick, you shoot him." "Okay, I'll shoot him." To make a long story short, by the end of the film, I had shot everybody in the picture. So I was now number one Indian. And he said, "You want to play cowboy?" I said, "Starting another picture?" He says, No, same picture." I said, "Okay, I'll play a cowboy for you." And wound up playing a cowboy and an Indian. I almost killed myself in the last scene.
You played a cowboy and an Indian in the same picture?
Same picture, first picture. That was it.
Was that an Apache woman?
Apache woman, yes.
Warning! This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I'm your host, Michael Viers, and joining me on today's episode is my beautiful and talented wife,
Amanda.
You've listened to enough episodes now that you kind of know the flow of it.
Yep. I've been on enough episodes.
That's true. You have been on enough episodes. I've stopped counting, but it's definitely over 5.
I don't know, I stopped counting as like, oh, it's going to be like a really high number. It's definitely over 5.
Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to count, see how many episodes you're in, and I will report back.
Okay.
We'll see how long this episode ends up being, because even though it's a triple feature, the films don't have a whole lot of meat on their bones. Like the later films kind of do, because he's tackling more, but yeah. However, I chose these films for a reason, and it's to celebrate the belated 73rd birthday of the mayor of Tromaville and a hero of mine, Lloyd Kaufman.
I didn't think he was 73.
Yeah, it's like he
I mean, I guess he has a grandkid.
He has like 2 grandkids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't look 73.
No, he doesn't.
And it's also weird to think that, like, I didn't think he was that old. I thought, would have sworn he was like in his 60s.
Yeah.
I would not have thought 70s. But on today's episode, we'll be discussing 3 Nuke 'Em High films. First up, we have Class of Nuke 'Em High 2, SUBHUMANOID MELTDOWN. While not directed by Lloyd, the screenplay was written by Uncle Lloyd and a few others, and was directed by Eric Wuziel. The film takes place right after the original film, and instead of rebuilding Nuke 'Em High, a community college was constructed instead by the Nuke-A-Mama Corporation. Our lead, Roger, played by pro wrestler Brick Bronski, is a school journalist looking for a scoop, and once he digs into how Nuke-A-Mama and the school's science teacher are connected, a devious plot unfolds.
Nuke-A-Mama.
Nuke-A-Mama. I've always thought that was fun. It's one of the few times that Lloyd has not used trauma in the name of something.
Right.
So that's what it just feels off, because the next film, it's the trauma organic foodstuffs.
Right, everything's trauma.
Well, it's Tromaville, so
well, yeah.
It makes sense.
But not everything's Milwaukee.
It should be. It should be. After that, we'll be discussing Lloyd's return to the franchise with the epic 2-part Return to Nuke 'Em High series. In this film, which starts with a fun summary by Stan Lee himself, we find out everything in the previous 2 sequels has been ignored. Nuke 'Em High has been rebuilt, and the school is as rough and dangerous as ever. The film shares a very similar plot to the original about a group of nerdy students getting mutated into horrible cretins, but Lloyd brings his own brand of socially aware commentary to the film by making a pro-LGBT film about 2 young female lovers who rise up to stop the cretin and to stop the evil Herzkoff that runs the Trauma Organic Foodstuffs conglomerate. For the sake of time, we're going to run through the trailers for all 3 films now. Hey guys, editor's note real quick. As per usual, we play the trailers right here. Issue is, these 3 trauma movies do not have the most sonically pleasing trailers. The first trailer, which is Class of Nuke 'Em High 2, is just the theme song with images underneath of it. So these trailers might not do a whole lot for you, but to keep on brand, I have chosen to just keep them in for better or for worse. However, it's no worse than when we had the Black Christmas trailer. That was probably the worst sonic experience of the show. I'm sorry if these trailers are not very interesting. I'm working with what I have. Thanks a lot, guys.
Jones in? Stop the presses. It was incredible. And I saw the whole thing. Turned right into a big mess of green goo.
So you'd say you witnessed a subhumanoid meltdown?
Life is full of miserable chores, like washing windows and fighting in wars. Our lead, let's get busy, free us from thinking and work which boards. Let's mix genetics with something fizzy and create a race of subhumanoids who do everything for us. Subhumanoids do the jobs demeaning.
They'll do space exploration too.
They'll do the cooking and they'll do the cleaning.
And then they'll even do you.
Class of Nuke 'Em High, part 2. It's a subhumanoid meltdown coming on through. Class of Nuke 'Em High, part 2.
feels so good. It's almost like you've got a mouth down there.
Some humanoids are never born from female egg and semen seed. They're being made from night till dawn. They're the ultimate product of corporate greed. When you kiss them, if they're smelly, they got an extra set of lips in the button of their belly. Some humanoids do the job to meaning.
Space exploration.
They'll do the cooking and they'll do the cleaning.
And then they'll even do you.
Class of Nuke 'em High. Part 2. It's a subhumanoid meltdown coming on through. Class of Nuke 'em High. Part 2. We're dead anyway, so let's bow to it through. Class of Nuke 'em High. Part 2. It's a subhumanoid meltdown coming on through. Class of Nuke 'em High. Part 2. It's a nuclear-powered boogaloo.
Damn! Who would have thought college would have turned out like this?
A swaggering bulldozer of a flick.
Class of Nuke 'em High. Part 2. Class of
Let me take you back. Back to where it all began. To a small town in New Jersey. Our heroes, Warren and Chrissy, saved the day by blowing up the nuclear power plant and the school they're in, eliminating evil and setting things back to normal.
Now look, laddie, I want my ultra-cheap foodstuffs in every school in New Jersey at inflated prices. That is the basis of our plan, and you know it.
help!
Brown-nosing little rich girl late for intramural ping pong. I love you, Kevin. I know you'll never leave me.
Hey, Mrs. Crabtree! What's going on? I Nuke 'em High. What's going on? I Nuke 'em High. What's going on?
Oh, by the way, Excelsior.
A great darkness is settling over Tromaville. A high school just like the one you attended. The student body, young, fresh-faced teenagers in a small town. A crazed foodstuffs mogul with a nefarious plot that will enslave all citizens of Tromaville. And the world. What price immortality? Will they survive?
There's something happening in Tromaville. The food they're serving's glowing green. There's something happening at Nuke 'em High.
Tell them my love. My little Rachel Maddow.
Return to Nuke 'em High, Volume 2. Coming soon.
Previous 2 sequels?
Yes.
There's one we didn't watch?
Yes, there's Class of Nuke 'em High 3. I do not remember the name of the film, but I want to look it up now.
So Lloyd didn't do that one either?
I don't believe so. It's the same thing with the Toxic Avenger films. Like, I think 2 and 3 were directed by another person. Class of Nuke 'em High 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Subhumanoid.
Oh.
That's the name of that one. And that film was directed by Eric Luziel again.
So does that one follow the events of Nuke 'em High 2?
Yep, and it stars Brick Bronski, that guy, and... Which, by the way, I was looking through the cast of Return to Nuke 'em High, and it looks like Brick Bronski had a short cameo in that film.
He did?
Yeah.
Did
I don't know. I didn't see a muscle-bound guy with a blonde mullet, so I didn't notice.
Maybe he was with that one part where the woman was with the crazy hair.
It could be.
Because you just saw her in passing.
Yeah, and that's when they also brought back Cigar Face and a couple other...
maybe he was in that part.
It very well could be.
But the only reason I recognize her is because of her stupid hair.
Yeah.
That was basically a ripoff of Marge Simpson's.
Pretty much. But if you ask Lloyd, the Simpsons ripped off them.
No, of course.
Yeah. Even though they actually talk about that in the commentary a little bit. It's
Did
like the Simpsons ripped us off, and the woman who plays that character is like, no, that came out first, Lloyd.
Yeah, but that sounds like a Lloyd thing.
Yeah. So we're not gonna do the normal format where we discuss each film. This is gonna be kind of an open flowing conversation because we watched Class of Nuke 'em High 2 so long ago. And even when we watched it, well, not that long, like a week or two ago, but even when we watched it, like, yeah, there's not going to be a lot to talk about on this.
No, it just, I don't know, I really didn't like that one a whole lot.
Why?
It just didn't.
I didn't like it either, but for sake of conversation.
It just didn't feel right. Like, I just feel like it had some of the same jokes, but I mean, I know this is weird because, like, Lloyd's whole thing, his whole shtick is inexpensively made movies, but like it just felt too cheap, like not like
but yet at the same time it also felt like it had a little it felt like it had more money than the original Class of Nuke 'em High,
like
but
the
it didn't know
were
what
cool, but like
and didn't know what to do with that money.
I feel like the sets kind of sucked, and like the actual way it was shot wasn't great. I didn't really care about any of the characters.
You didn't like Roger Smith?
Not really.
Journalist?
Not really. He was kind of annoying.
Who had a really bad body odor, as per the jokes in the movie.
Just annoying. I'm sure it was the mullet, not the body odor. He can tell himself it was the body odor, but whatever.
I think it was really the mullet. But no, the film was weird, too, because, like, so the movie was shot in California. And it looks like it was shot in California, but it's still supposed to take place in Tromaville, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And, like, I was thinking about it, because I was rewatching scenes from the original Class of Nuke 'em High, and I realized, like, what's missing is, surprisingly, I've always felt Lloyd had a pretty good eye for composition, and, like, that original Class of Nuke 'em High, while made really cheaply, has a really nice look to it, and probably some of that is because it was shot on film.
Yeah.
But, like, it just, all the Nuke 'em High films up until the new ones were shot on film, but they had a completely different look to it. And part of it, I think, was because Lloyd using New York to his advantage and finding these really unique locations. And not everything was a built set. He was just finding stuff and shooting it. It felt like he was just running and gunning and shooting a movie.
Yeah.
Where I felt like the sequels had a little bit more money and the effects were fucking cool. They put all that money into the effects, but it just felt like it lost some of the charm. And
I mean,
continue.
Keep in mind, it's been a really long time since I've seen the first one, because I think that was one of the first movies you showed me. Like,
probably
when I bought you Return to Nuke 'em High, I'm pretty sure we went back and watched the first one, and that was like 5 years ago.
But you saw some of the clips.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, so I guess keep in mind my memory of that might not be the greatest, but that's kind of what I mean is, like, yes, I know Lloyd shoots things inexpensively, but it feels like he still does a good job with doing it inexpensive. Whereas the second one just didn't really feel like they were good filmmakers.
Yeah, and Eric Oziel has had quite a long career making trauma-esque films, but I guess it just lacked the charm that comes from it. It just felt like someone trying to make a Lloyd Kaufman film.
Yeah.
And like little things that I appreciate, the way Lloyd's always used actors, like he'll use a lot, like it just didn't feel, the actors in the original Class of Nuke 'Em High had a homegrown, like real quality.
Yeah.
Where everyone in Class of Nuke 'Em High 2 just felt cast.
Yeah, and like, yeah, they didn't feel natural at all. And maybe that part of that might have been intentional since there were so many like subhumans, so they were supposed to be weird. But like, yeah, it didn't feel natural.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a lot, but there's some really cool effects in this movie. I think, let me see if I took any notes on this film. Because that's really the standout of this film. Like, there's some fantastic use of, I guess I did not take notes on this film. That sounds like me. There's fantastic use of stop motion. All the creature effects are really cool. Some great uses of forced perspective, like when the if you hear walking around, it's our dogs. They don't like the fact that we're just sitting around and not paying attention to them. So that's the foot sounds you're gonna hear. But if you've been listening to the show long enough, you're used to it by now. But no, there's like a great scene where like this mutated rat comes out of like a lunchbox, and this forced perspective on that was super cool. And it kind of felt like a monster, especially because they're shooting in California. It felt like a Power Rangers monster.
Yeah,
which I really appreciated too. It was like, oh, the story and the acting in this film is fucking terrible.
Yeah, like,
but the effects are all really cool. And that's, I feel like, what's going to bring me back to it, because like the story in this film is, so Tromaville High has been rebuilt by the Nuke-A-Mama Corporation into Tromaville Institute of Technology, which is a typical Lloyd joke because it stands for tit. In this school, you have a science teacher who's working on a secret experiment, and she sends out a bulletin board, she puts on a bulletin board looking for volunteers for a crazy sex experiment. So our lead character, Brick Bronsky, or his name is Roger, but I think Brick Bronsky is such a cooler name.
Yeah.
He signs up. And it's so weird.
And mind you, like, he's like the most stereotypical, like, attractive, pretty boy kind of thing. But
he's a professional wrestler, so he's got like a big bod.
Yeah.
He's got a bleached blonde mullet, and
the mullet's kind of gross, but like,
yeah. Well, for the time, it was probably attractive. So 91, yeah, that was probably attractive at the time.
My dad had a mullet in 91 when he graduated high school, so there's pictures of it.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. It is a hell of a mullet.
But yeah, but his whole shtick is he can't get laid because he has a really bad body odor.
Yeah,
so
and I was like,
signs up because he's like, hell yeah.
And like, they also like make his character out to be like a fucking nerd, and while he could be, but his stilted acting and his bodybuilder physique and the fact that he's always wearing like a pink like tank top, it's like there's no way this guy can't get laid.
Right, and like they could have made him into a nerd, but like
they could at least put some glasses on him.
But like, you know, I get it. Yeah, obviously being a nerd doesn't mean you can't have muscles or anything like that, because that's whatever. But nothing about him screamed nerd. Not a single thing.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done something to make it, like, okay.
I always appreciated, remember when we watched the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Where they find out they're twins at birth, and since Schwarzenegger's character was, like, born on an island, like, all he has to do is read and, like, lift weights.
Yeah.
They made that work where he's, like, he's a fucking nerd, but he's muscle-bound, but I can guarantee he probably had no trouble getting laid.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't care how bad his body odor is. I'm sure he could have. Though there is a great, like, montage, like, not a montage, but, like, a little scene near the beginning of the film when he goes back to his dorm and he hits play on his messages, and it's all the girls he's asked out telling him all the different reasons they can't go out with him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, man, another weekend alone. Like, he just doesn't get it.
Roger, it's Sophia. Thanks for the invite, but that's the same day I'm going to the eye doctor, so maybe another time, okay?
Hi, Roger, it's Linda. Can't make it tonight. I'm already going out with Steve. Sorry. Better luck next time.
Hi, Roger, it's Linda. I asked my friends about you, and they told me I'd be better off being a water bug. Bye.
Hi, Roger, it's Jill. Listen, I didn't have the heart to tell you, but Mark and I are going steady again thanks to you. Your phone message made Mark so jealous we got back together. Now we're having sex about 6 times a day. Gotta go, Mark's here and we're gonna try that position 99.
Nice work.
Hi, Roger, it's Andrea.
Your article's on page 1.
So bad, I don't think I can.
Thank you, Captain.
Do something about the B.O.
Well, if I can't get laid, at least I get to see my name in print.
Stop calling me or I'm getting a lawyer.
Once sex bad, boy do I ever. First come, first served. 4:45. Better get going.
Roger, you stink.
Roger, it's me, your mother. Have you met a nice girl yet?
So he signs up for this weird sex experiment with this woman who comes out and she doesn't say anything and they start getting to it, but she's got a mouth where her belly button is. And
those effects were not great.
No, but they're really fucking creepy because they had teeth.
Yeah.
They had, and it was part animatronic and part real.
Yeah.
And he makes love with this woman. He's blindfolded so he doesn't see it. And there's a really dumb joke where, you know, she's kissing him, but then her belly button is kissing him. And he's like, it's like you have two mouths. It's like, how do you not feel that?
Right.
And then we find out this woman was created by the scientist who's working with the Nuke Em High Corporation with the intent of making these subhumanoids that are like slaves. They'll do all the things that we don't want to do. Like they'll clean for us. They will clean for us. Probably shovel for us. They'll have sex with us, and they don't have a real thought of their own. So it feels like there's some social commentary trying to go through. I just can't quite figure out what Lloyd's getting at.
Yeah.
And then we find out that their like ecosystem, their balance is really. Calm down, Frankie. Their balance is like their ecosystem is really light. Can't think of the word I'm looking for. Where like they melt down really easily.
Oh yeah.
And I still haven't figured.
There's that virus. That's why they're melting down.
Yes, you're right. There's a virus that is
whatever.
attacking the subhumanoids or whatever, and then they start melting down. And that's where we get the title Subhumanoid Meltdown.
Yeah.
And I still haven't figured out if the people are the subhumanoids or the creatures living inside of them are the subhumanoids. Because it's a whole creature inside of them. They have like a whole thing inside of them, and it's really weird. It's also strange too. Like once the subhumanoids are like become a bigger part of the picture, like there's that weird montage of like the belly buttons, the belly button mouths, and like
eating and everything.
Some of them got mustaches, and they're like making out with each other. It's super fucking weird.
I guess I kind of just assumed that when she made the subhumanoids, like the human was part of the like all of it is the subhumanoid, including the creature inside of it. But I guess I didn't really think about like maybe she put those creatures in people.
And then like some of the things that I guess I will say I appreciate about this film. One, as I said at the beginning, there's not a lot of meat on the bones in this film, so it's going to be hard to really break down. But some of the things I did like, I appreciated that. For once, while there is a bad guy in this film, it's like the dean of the school. Lloyd really likes to cast really fat, sweaty guys,
right?
Who are like the dean or principal, and then they're evil. I appreciate that the principal the science teacher of the film doesn't seem like she's evil. She was like, you get the impression that she's making these subhumanoids to make the world a better place.
Yeah, no, I fully believe that. And she calls them her kids. Like, she seems to legitimately care about them, and they call her mom.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I feel like she had this idea of what she wanted to do, and he kind of was like, oh, let's create this thing, and, like, made it into a bigger, worse thing than it actually was. But, like, her original intent was like, oh, I have this really cool idea.
I can't help but think about Jurassic World. where it's like you got the guy who's like, I want to train raptors, and the other guy's like, we got to militarize raptors.
Yeah. She's like, I want to create these people that'll be my children, and he's like, well, let's make them evil. And
I didn't know I wanted it until now, but I feel like there needs to be a double feature of Class of Nuke 'Em High 2 and Jurassic World. That'd be a really fucking weird
I'm trying to
double
think
feature.
though, like, what was the dean's reason for wanting them? Did they ever really say?
I honestly don't remember.
Because, like, the whole issue of the film ended up being the meltdown, and that he was in love with the one subhumanoid, but, like, they weren't supposed to love, so, like, that was the thing. But I don't remember what actually was the dean's purpose. Like, why was he a bad guy, other than he just kind of seemed like a dick?
I'm looking that up real quick. I think that is the whole point. Like they because these subhumanoids are made with the intent of being our slaves and doing these menial tasks, and the science teacher is like, no, they're more than that, but they've been programmed to not be able to love. So like that's kind of the plot line there.
Okay.
The subhumanoid Victoria and Roger falling in love is because they're not programmed to be able to do so.
Right.
And
so it's not like the dean is trying to take over the world with them, right?
Yeah, he just essentially wants to make a quick buck off of them.
Yeah.
And if they feel feelings,
then he can't, because
then they'll think for themselves. So I guess there is a little bit of like I don't know what Lloyd's directly commenting on.
Yeah.
But it feels like this script was written with the intent of saying something. But
yeah.
I just feel like it was a little too dense of a story, because I couldn't even tell you what the fuck this movie is really about, and we're talking about it right now. Like I know what it's about, but it's not a plot that I'm ever gonna be like, what was a really well told story? Class of Nuke 'Em High 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown. It's like,
right.
I'm gonna go back to this film. Probably not anytime soon. I'm gonna go back to this one because of how cool the effects were. Like, this is I feel like I'd want to show people, like,
yeah,
because it's insane. And that's actually one thing that I've always felt that Troma did really well. Their films are like an assault to the senses.
Yeah.
Where it's like a cacophony of sound and visuals, where you're just kind of like getting beat over the head constantly with everything from, music to visuals. There's always something going on. I really feel like I had notes for this film.
I really don't think you did.
Yeah.
I don't remember you taking any notes.
But that's one thing I've always liked about Troma and what they do is this: they never lets up.
Yeah.
And and I've always really appreciated the weird punk rock aesthetic of his films as well.
Yeah.
So much so that like when I met Lloyd Kaufman for the first time when I was at Cannes, I went and dressed a certain way because I thought, this is how you do things. You mingle and yada, yada, yada. And that's how most people were. You dress nice, handshakes, having drinks with people, wheeling and dealing, all this bullshit that I really don't like doing. But then me and my buddy Greg, who was actually on our Rocky episode, who introduced me to, well, actually, no, I knew of Troma before then, but he's what made me a bigger fan. We were walking around and we saw someone vomit like green goo with like red Liberty spikes and a leather jacket. I'm like, well, this ain't like Cannes. And we looked at it and it was like, it's Troma protesting something. And I was like, okay, this is cool. So I was like, their look and their style kind of always informed a lot of what I like and a lot of the music in their films and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to say Class of Nuke 'Em High 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown is not without merit. It's just not nearly as memorable as the first film, which actually I feel like is a legitimately good film. It's got a lot it has to say. It's got a message essentially about teen sex and having an unprotected sex. That's kind of Lloyd's MO for that film was. Just like The Toxic Avenger was him commenting on pollution.
Right.
This one just felt aimless. It felt like it was just made, and this does not surprise me at all. It felt like it was made for the home video market, because Lloyd's the first one to say it's like home video was great for Troma.
Right.
Because we didn't have to worry about our stuff being seen in theaters, because if you had some good gore scenes and nudity, it would get rented a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and probably some of that is because Lloyd didn't direct it, but
Right.
But I think he kind of redeemed himself at least one of the next two films. After many, many years, Lloyd Kaufman decided to go back to the well, and one of the franchises that made him famous was Class of Nuke 'Em High. Lloyd's been trying to get another Toxic Avenger film made, but I don't know this for a fact. But it's gone through periods of remakes where people were going to remake the film and it hasn't happened for whatever reason. It's gone through these periods of remakes. Like at one point, Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to play the Toxic Avenger, and
that would have been incredible.
It would have been great. I would have seen that. It's still getting remade, and right now, apparently, Lloyd is working with the studio.
I remember you telling me it was going to be remade back from when we first met.
Because it was, but then that fell through.
Oh, okay.
It became a whole thing, and Lloyd has made it where he can still make his own films, but I feel like he hasn't touched Toxic Avenger as much because if I was Lloyd, I'd want to put out a new one when a big budget one is coming out.
Yeah.
So I feel like he went back to the well and went back to Class of Nuke 'Em High because it's one of the films that made him popular. Mm-hmm. And we got the 2-part film, Return to Nuke 'Em High, Volume 1, and then Return to Nuke 'Em High, a.k.a. Volume 2. I'm a little biased towards the first film. When I met Lloyd in Cannes, it was when he was promoting this film. And I got tickets, and let me preface this by saying to get tickets in Cannes is not easy. Mm-hmm. But I got tickets to one of the first screenings of Return to Nuke 'Em High. So me, Greg, and our other friend Scott went and just had a fantastic time. It's like we're in France and we're watching a trauma movie in an actual theater. How weird. And then it was the first movie you ever bought for me when it came out on Blu-ray.
Was it the first one?
Yep.
Oh.
It was pretty early on in our relationship.
I just remember going to Best Buy.
It was before I was working at Target.
Oh, really?
It was right before we started work. I was working at Target because I had no money at all. And I was eyeing it up, and you decided to buy it for me. And funny enough, this is your first time watching it.
Yeah.
So
you hadn't watched it since I bought it for you either, had you?
I had.
Oh, you had?
When I was working on a project with Greg, and he wanted to rewatch it back when I was living with Mom, so we put it on and watched it then. And then I've gone back through and watched scenes from it. But tell me a little bit tell me about your thoughts on it, especially not having the memory of the original Class of Nuke 'Em High. But I feel like the film does a good job of catching you up. What did you think of, I guess, Volume 1 and Volume 2?
I mean, I feel like it could have been a single movie.
Mm-hmm.
In Volume 1, I really liked. Volume 2 had its moments, which is why I feel like putting it into one film could have been better. Like, there's a lot in Volume 2 that I feel like just kind of didn't need to exist. Might have been funny, but wasn't necessary. I liked the effects of those also. I feel like they still did a really good job. Like the melting effect of that one girl in the beginning, when she literally
was fucking cool.
Yeah, that was incredible. And that one was just shot really well, the first one.
Yeah.
Like the sets were really cool, the locations that he got, and it looked nicer than a trauma movie ever should.
Yeah, like there's scenes in that movie like, wow, low budget. It's like, oh, this is pretty.
Yeah.
And that's not something I ever thought I'd say. Like, only other time I've said that about a trauma movie was there's certain sequences in Romeo and Juliet, which I think is still the best directing Lloyd's ever done.
Yeah.
In terms of showing the love between two characters, like he was actually making a real story. But no, especially it's Lloyd's first foray into digital filmmaking because he's been completely even Poultrygeist was shot on film.
Right.
And I agree with you. It's like my biggest complaint when I saw it in Cannes was like I had a fantastic time and I loved the movie. The only reason I had a hard time like giving it even a better review is because it cuts off at a certain point, and it's like this is where part 2 is going to begin. But even where it cuts off, it's like I feel like the story's kind of getting close to its climax.
Right.
And when I was at Cannes, Lloyd did a Q&A beforehand, and he said he's like Quentin Tarantino is a fan of trauma, which he is. He's like, and we're a fan of him, and he broke Kill Bill up into 2 films, so we thought we're going to make this movie into 2 movies. And then I
mean, I'm not surprised that if he did it just because of that, but...
Greg leaned over at me, he's like, I bet they didn't finish the film.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's realistically what I think. Like, I'm sure no one's going to admit it, and I'm sure people like Lloyd would yell at me. It's like, this has always been the intention, but I always just kind of get the feeling, because like I could seriously go through and take both films and make it a 2-hour film.
Oh yeah, easily.
Because it's the first one's only like an hour 25 anyways. The second one's an hour 25. It's like you cut out all the filler of part 2. But no, I legitimately love part 1 because, like you said, it looks like they had a legitimate budget. I was tickled pink to see nighttime shoots outdoors, because normally that takes a lot more light. It's like,
and that car,
that
beautiful.
factory that Trom Organic was set in. It's like this is a fantastic location.
Oh my god! But the terrible like green screen of the factory in the second one was so bad.
So I believe that they had the money. They didn't have the same budget they had on part 1.
Oh, I'm
so
not
they had a fantastic looking factory that actually reminded me a lot of the factory in Metropolis. I don't know if that was intentional, but I also wouldn't be surprised if that was intentional, because Lloyd is a cinephile.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me these feelings of Metropolis. They couldn't get that. I don't think they could get that location again in part 2, and they need to show it. And
but they didn't even try to make it blend in.
Lloyd's got a green screen in his office, because like I've when I asked him to shoot that little bit for Twisted Dreams Film Festival, I believe they just pulled the green screen down in his office and they shoot it right there.
Right.
But they just seriously just recycled the footage from part 1,
and they just changed the colors, so like you could tell it was.
They just put Lloyd in that scene and just made him big enough so that way you couldn't see that he's actually in that scene in the background.
Right.
And it looked terrible. But like, there's things I did like about part 2. Like, there
were parts that I liked too. Like, I liked Kevin a lot.
Kevin the mutated duck. Yeah,
he was
great.
Fantastic. And Lloyd when he was mutated, and they're just whole like.
I also
battle.
love, like, I wish they would have done a little bit of this in part 1, but like, so Lloyd's character in the movie is named Herzkoff, which is Michael Herz, his partner, and Kaufman's name put together. But it does sound like a Nazi leader. Mm-hmm. And like they make Lloyd's character seem like a Hitler-esque figure. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way to do it. Or like, I wish they would have done a little bit of that in the first one.
Yeah. It would have blended a little bit better.
Yeah. But like, for me, some of the things that Lloyd did extremely well in these 2 films, like we said, the effects, the cinematography, I think, is really good. I love the music. A group called the Tiger Lilies did almost all the music in the film, and it just had a different feel, because a lot of times Troma used synth scores. They did back in the day because it's a lot cheaper to buy a keyboard than to rent out an orchestra.
Right.
Give me some of that heroin, some of that cocaine. Heroin, heroin, and cocaine. Heroin, heroin, and cocaine. Heroin, heroin, and cocaine. Heroin, heroin, and cocaine. Jimmy's teacher was very annoyed. He gave Jimmy the cane. He said his
so I liked having a different vibe. It's this weird, like, falsetto polka music almost, and it has a completely just different feel than anything else that Lloyd's put out. But before we tackle a little bit more, did you have any things that you particularly liked about this film? Any characters, scenes?
I liked both the main characters. I can't think of their names right now, but the rich girl, and then
her name was Chrissy.
Chrissy, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the other character's name was. It's Chrissy, and I'm looking it up, so that's why I'm saving time. Chrissy and Lauren.
Yeah, I liked them a lot. I just felt like they had, granted, like, their love interest kind of got, like, blown out of proportion really early. Like, you know, when they would do, like, the slow, like, the zoom-ins as they were, like, falling in love with each other was definitely over the top. But, like, their interactions were fun. And I liked both of their characters individually. And together I felt like they made a good couple. Zach was funny and ridiculous, but funny.
And it's weird too, because like I don't know him super well, but I've known Zach since I met him at Cannes.
Yeah.
And fun story about that. There's a story that was going around at Cannes that, because they're all the team who did Great Gatsby was also there advertising that, and the Great Gatsby people threw a huge party, that got
Seems appropriate.
interrupted by a man streaking.
Oh, God.
That was Zach.
Okay.
He got thrown out of the party for that.
Okay.
And I met him at Cannes, and then we talk sometimes on the internet, and we talked with him at the Trauma Dance Film Festival that we went to.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, Zach's not playing a character. That's just Zach.
And the little bit I talked to him, I'm not surprised. Like, it totally makes sense. I was really cracking up about the Glee Club and how being mutated made them better singers.
Yeah.
That was great.
I also love too, because like how dated the film is at this point, because it was like made in 2013, so like Glee was a popular show at the time.
Yeah.
And then constantly taking jabs at Glee, it's like, oh, that's not a thing anymore, guys.
Well, when the movie came out,
it was at the time. Yeah.
But yeah, I just liked that one a lot. I felt like it had the ridiculous jokes that I expect from Trauma, but it was in a way that felt right.
I also liked the group of cretins quite a bit.
Oh yeah, no, the Glee Club was fantastic when they became cretins.
And I love the guy in a wheelchair. And I like he's like, oh my god, my wheelchair has been inexplicably mutated as well.
Yes, I was dying at that too.
He's like, oh my, I think I could feel my legs. Nope,
still can't.
Still crippled. Like they all just they had a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah,
and I
like that the Jewish guy was a Jewish cretin.
Yeah,
like he still had his
menorah, and he still had the yarmulke, and and like there's a strangely weirdly wholesome scene like when right after they become cretins and they're like driving down the street in their two cars and they're all like trying to touch each other's hands from both vehicles, and I was like, this seems strangely adorable.
Right.
And I appreciated the heck out of it.
Yeah.
It also the part one also had one of my favorite scenes that Lloyd's ever directed.
With the couple.
Yeah, and for lack of a term, I'll just call it the rape door scene. Because the band who's playing in the band is called Rape Door.
Right.
And a band called Rape Door should not have a song that's is catchy and strangely pretty as it is. Because the lyrics are just simply this is the last song I'll ever write. I'm gonna kill myself tonight. It's just that line over and over again for 3 minutes, and I'll play a bit of it right. I'll play a bit of the song right now for you. Should not like I've been singing that song over and over again myself, and I was like, I should not sing this out loud because people are gonna get the wrong idea. But the scene is essentially just these two characters essentially falling deeper in love, and they're just dancing with each other, and there's nothing flashy or nothing overly interesting about it. But great direction is when you allow your actors just to be and to act.
Yeah.
And I thought he did that really well.
And wasn't that the first moment where they kind of accepted to each other that they're okay with, that they want to be with each other, because they definitely comment on how being a lesbian is not okay in Tromaville at this time period.
There's actually a line in the movie that amused me. Once again, I got to look it up. I had it in my intro originally, but I decided to cut it out because it felt forced. Chrissy actually comments, at this school, LGBT stands for lynch, grope, burn, and torture.
Yeah.
So like it's not okay to be gay in Tromaville. It's kind of like that scene in Heathers where they're like, you know, if you're not drinking a brewski, they assume you're wearing a dress, and so that scene was nice because it just made it feel like, okay, here Lloyd's not just having these girls be gay to add extra boobs in the movie. It felt like that was his intention for this story.
Yeah, and I liked that scene specifically because of them. That it just felt like that's when they really fell for each other, and hit that point where they're like, okay.
Yeah. Wow, I totally blanked out for a second, and then from that point on in the film, they have sex, then they mutate to like these weird, which they only do once.
Yeah, and they go back, and no one else went back to normal people after that.
Yeah, and that happened in the original film where they mutated once, but like I'm amused that it was never commented on again. Yeah. That like they mutate, and Chrissy has like a big pregnant belly and can shoot like acid out of her boobs when she's lactating, and Lauren has a giant dick that she just crushes people's skulls with and eats hearts.
Yeah.
It becomes insane. They kill a bunch of cretins at like this crazy party, which that party alone shows how much money Lloyd had. Like there was like fucking dirt bikes and things. It's like, wow, they comment on it in the second film, but they never show it again.
I don't know if it was in that part of like that location, or if it was in the second one where they misspelled layer.
Yes,
over and over
there's
again
a great visual joke where they're trying to spell layer, and they
I assume it's supposed to say like Cretan's lair,
and they have it like at least 6 or 7 times misspelt and crossed out, and like one of them was LAYOR.
LAHOR, I think.
And it's you pointed it out, and it's such a great joke. And then a little bit more happens in the film. It's just more arguing with the cretins, and then it ends with Chrissy bleeding in the shower, but it's like bleeding green goo.
Yeah.
And then it ends, and it's like the next one picks up with actually a really great homage to Carrie. Where have you ever seen Carrie?
I don't think so.
There is the opening scene of Carrie is going through the women's shower, and it's all in slow motion, and you see all the women in the shower room laughing, and eventually goes to the shower, and you see Carrie like having her period for the first time, and they're all just laughing at her and everything.
Huh.
It's
what?
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
I might be remembering the scene wrong, but I believe that's how it plays out. I haven't seen it since high school, but
well, now I need to watch that.
We can rent it tonight.
Okay.
Okay, we'll run Carrie tonight. It's actually one of the Brian De Palma films that, while I've obviously seen, I haven't seen since I became a fan of Brian De Palma. Okay. So it's one that I've been wanting to recheck out, especially because I think Scream Factory put it out.
Oh, nice.
But so we see Chrissy bleeding, and then it's like turns into like a greenish color, and we find out that she's pregnant with a duck creature. And then there's a lot of awkward scenes of just naked women getting covered in blood and guts and everything.
Yeah.
But Chrissy gives birth to this weird duck creature.
We need to talk about the one woman, though, that could hold her phone under her boob.
Yes. So during this scene, they're like, oh my God, she's giving birth. And they're like taking pictures and everything. And then they all start getting like blood and meniscus, because she's giving birth right there, and they all get
very messily.
Yeah, and they all get covered in blood and everything. And there's this one woman whose boobs are so big she can hold her phone underneath her boobs unsupported. And Amanda's been obsessed with this ever since.
Like how? That doesn't make any sense.
And like and she's not like she's standing still. She's moving a lot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fall.
And it's not like it was like fake. Like that was, I mean, at least it looked like a legitimate phone. Like that is where they put a phone and it stayed.
Yeah. So then Chrissy gave birth to this duck creature. We forgot to mention in the first Nuke 'Em High, she was raped by a duck. The cretins caught her, and she has
her pet duck.
Her pet duck, Kevin. They caught the duck, and they shoved it down her mouth, and it was a whole fucking scene where she had a duck stuck in her mouth and everything.
A mutated duck.
Was he mutated at that point?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he had to have been.
Yeah, because he had like the green eyes and the teeth.
And because of which, they have like a really kind of amusing cartoon of the duck just like throwing up semen into her stomach, and that's how she got pregnant. I don't think that's how anatomy works, Lloyd, but she gives birth to a duck creature, and they have to...
whose eyes are very creepy, by the way.
Yeah, they're partially CGI, partially like animatronic.
It's weird.
And then the duck grows up to be a mutated fucking hulking superhero, very much like the Toxic Avenger, and he's Kevin the Wonder Duck.
Not the duck baby doesn't do that.
No, you're right. I'm actually getting my stuff confused. The duck baby...
He's a baby
stays through the entire film, but then Kevin the Wonder Duck, since he is finally mutated,
fully.
he is going to save his baby, So pretty much like this film is weird because it honestly felt like they just took the climax from the last film and they're like, we do not have enough for a movie. Let's just fill it out. So they have these really terrible talking Tromaville skits, which the first time it cut to, I thought it was funny. But they kept doing it.
I see the point in that.
And we find out, since this movie is still really new, I'm not going to spoil it. Well, actually, no, we spoil shit on this show all the time.
I was like, you have a disclaimer at the beginning.
Disclaimer. This is another disclaimer. This is a spoiler. We find out that Lauren's father is actually Warren from the first Nuke 'Em High film. And there's a fantastic sequence. It made me laugh so hard where they took a bunch of scenes from the first class of Nuke 'Em High and very terribly CGI'd Lloyd's head over the character of Warren.
You should explain that Lloyd is Warren.
Yes. Lloyd Kaufman plays Warren in this film. And Lloyd Kaufman plays Warren in this film, and they just go back and just poorly CGI Lloyd's head over the character. And there's a really goofy sex scene of Lloyd just with his head over the character, and we find out that's her father, and she was the little leech thing that the woman in the original Nuke 'Em High threw up into the toilet, and then she grew up to be a person. And now
that makes sense.
And Lloyd has this weird subplot where he found eternal youth by sniffing young people's farts, and that keeps him alive.
After they have eaten the tacos.
They make toxic food at who would have thought Trom Organic Foodstuffs does not make organic food. They make toxic food, and
which looks like guac in a taco shell.
It kind of looks delicious.
I really just wanted tacos and guac after that.
And if a young person eats this Trom Organic food, their farts is then like what makes you de-age. So Lloyd's obsessed with huffing it through like a face mask like they do in Blue Velvet, and there's a really awkward scene of him dancing like in Silence of the Lambs. The movie's nuts. Like, it feels very directionless.
Oh, and after a while, doesn't he kill the people and turn them into the food?
Yes, so it's like chicken and the egg type thing, which is actually a storyline for an episode of The Simpsons.
Really?
Not the fart part, but turning students into food.
Oh, I feel like I remember that, yeah.
It was one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes. I feel like that might have been spoofing something too. Probably Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Soylent Green is people. You haven't seen Soylent Green, so
nope.
You don't get it. Okay, never mind. Spoiler for Soylent Green if you haven't seen the movie.
How many disclaimers do you want in one episode?
Plenty. So yeah, this film, just like I said, just felt directionless. Like, it felt like it had the part that was continuing the storyline from the first one, but then it just kind of fell into like an area of fan service where it's like, let's bring back a bunch of actors and characters.
They just had to pad time. Realistically, I really feel like that's just what it was.
And I'm bummed out because I've been waiting for this film for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad film. And it's a film, it's just, they set the bar so high with Class of Nuke 'Em, or Return to Nuke 'Em High Volume 1.
Yeah.
That it just kind of felt like a deflated balloon.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really feel like I'd love to try to like just edit it all into one film. But I guess the best way to say it is, because you got lucky where you got to watch part 1 and part 2 right after each other.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if part 2 was worth the 4 or 5 year wait.
I mean, even watching them right after each other, like I said, I mean, I enjoyed parts of it. I can't imagine being like, oh, I want to watch Return to Nuke 'Em High Volume 2 tonight. Like, I feel like you have to watch them together, or it just seems like Volume 2 isn't worth it.
Yeah, Volume 2 by itself is not worth it. Like, I could see myself going back and rewatching Volume 1, and even just by itself.
Yeah. But if you want the complete story, you obviously have to finish with Volume 2. But I just, I would have no interest in it by itself.
No, it's kind of like watching Goon 1 and Goon 2.
Yeah.
Goon 2 is made better if you watch Goon 1 first.
Yeah.
Because Goon 1 is a great film. Goon 2 is not a bad film at all. It's actually a really good film.
You need the stuff from the first one.
Yes. It's like you commented when we showed your brother Goon. It's like, what about all that other stuff? And you're like, oh yeah, that's in the sequel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this film feels. Is it completes the story, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, for having padded their time, I was actually really happy with the story. Like, there is I love too that they like made Lloyd into this weird monarchical character.
Yeah.
I love Kevin the Wonder Duck.
I love like the creature that Lloyd mutated into.
Yes.
And like his like battle with,
oh my god, yes.
With
Lloyd mutates into this fucking amazing looking creature, and
Kevin comes and saves everyone from.
And they have a line at the beginning of the film too, and I don't remember the exact line, but it was something along the lines with, is like, someone's gonna end up turning into a creature that is unable, that kind of looks like rubber, that's unable to move its mouth. and they all kind of look at the camera at that point.
And didn't he mutate because he ran out of farts?
Yeah.
So theoretically he would just get old because it's reversing the effects of the farts, which is keeping him young. But no, he just like mutates into this crazy creature, and it was hilarious when he was like dying or whatever was happening, and he was just standing there, but it kept cutting to his visual.
It had this amazing, and I will say, I don't mean that like sarcastically. This literally amazing kaleidoscope effect, because there's a scene. For those of you who've seen the original Class of Nuke 'Em High, the creature is destroyed by a laser that the science teacher has. They still have that laser at Nuke 'Em High for some reason. And there's a fantastic sequence where Lauren shoots the laser and it reflects off something. We have this great, like, it's pretty much Lloyd being able to throw as many references and people in the film as possible, because like it's bouncing back and forth throughout New York, and like it kills the angry video game nerd, and it kills a bunch of other people. It actually kills God, and they cast Ron Jeremy as God. But then, like, it ends up killing the creature, and this great kaleidoscope effect shows up, and it's really gnarly and crazy, and it kind of makes you feel like you're on drugs. And
he's like seeing his life flash before his eyes.
Yep, and you see like this, like the creature's convulsing and freaking out, but then it'll cut to the perspective of the characters, and the creature's just standing completely still, just drooling, and then it'll cut back to like all this insanity, and it just keeps cutting back to him just standing there drooling, and occasionally something will pop on him, and just the juxtaposition of the insanity and the creature not moving is
so great.
Like, I will say, Class of Nuke 'Em High 2 made me laugh harder and more than the first one did.
You mean Volume 2?
Yeah, Volume 2 made me laugh harder and more than the Volume 1 did, but the Volume 1 is just such a better made movie.
Yeah, Volume 1 is a really good movie, and I enjoyed it as a movie. Volume 2 was, it got even more crazy in a way that I assume would have happened.
Yeah,
being from Lloyd,
because like while the Volume 1 is not tame by any extent,
it's
but compared to Part 1, it feels tame.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of crazy. So like the films do work as a 1 and 2 piece, and I'd love to see it happen. I don't know if it ever will. Quentin Tarantino has said he'll Kill Bill, because they're broken up into 2 films.
Yeah,
he has done an edit of the film that's called like The Whole Bloody Affair, and he cuts them into one singular film. So cuts out the credit sequences and everything, retools some scenes so that way it's one film. I'd love to see them do that with this.
Oh, I don't think they would, but yeah.
Give me a version of Return to Nuke 'Em High that's just one solid film.
Yeah.
And maybe cut out some of those talkie Tromaville sequences.
I feel like some of the stuff that got really crazy in Volume 2 that felt kind of out of place would have felt less out of place if they had hinted towards that stuff in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the whole needing the farts to stay young. Like, they didn't actually
other than
them actually eating the tacos
and farting a lot.
Yeah, they didn't actually like hint that was his reasening. So I feel like that makes it a little disjointed between the two, so that would be interesting to see if they made it into one film.
I will say, though, there are a sequence from each film that I really love. And funny enough, this joke works better having seen Volume 2 when Lauren is talking to her aunt about, like, her real father and everything. And he's like, oh, he's just a deadbeat dad and everything. And they're like, what's that? And there's a shadow of the number 4 on the back. It's like, oh, that's foreshadowing. And I was like, what are they foreshadowing? They never explain what they're foreshadowing to. But then finding out who Lauren's dad is, like the literal foreshadowed on the wall.
I forgot about
is one of my favorite visuals, because like it's great too, because like they could have just had it in the background just as like a little nod if anyone knows.
That's not what Lloyd does. You got to draw attention to it.
Commenting on it made it funnier. And normally that ruins a joke, but strangely
with trauma that's expected.
But one of my favorite sequences in Part 2 was when they got super meta. and when Pat told him to stop the edit, and there's a whole scene of Lloyd's wife Pat and Lloyd arguing in the edit bay about because a character was just about to jack off and ejaculate everywhere, and it's actually the actor who played Melvin in the original Toxic Avenger, and they stop it right before it happens, and they have a whole argument about how Lloyd's just trying to add more ejaculate into the film, and he needs to stop adding constant boobs and everything, and just to
She
hear
doesn't want her name on it if that's what's gonna be like.
and to hear Lloyd and Pat arguing about that is fantastic. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna contact Trauma and see if there's any way I can get audio of that clip just so I can throw it in there. But it's
I would just love to watch just them arguing.
Yeah,
and like consistently for like a movie, just
Like-
about their life.
Yes, like I would watch that 100%. And actually, there's a line what he refers to as Blue Apron wife, because he has a series of videos on his Instagram of his wife cooking Blue Apron meals.
Oh, I didn't know that, but that
Yeah, so
I was wondering like why.
So he refers to her as Blue Apron wife, and like the entire time she's like, "You just want to add more dick in this movie," and of course it keeps cutting back to Lloyd like filleting a banana in his amazing Tupac hoodie.
Yeah.
Lloyd's got a hoodie that is just from neck to pelvis Tupac's face.
Can we also talk about the poor editing guy that was sitting at the desk that had to sit there and kept getting dragged into their argument?
Yeah, I loved it. So yeah, those are some things that I really appreciated out of part 1 and part 2. How about yourself? Give me a little rundown if there's any scenes that I might not have mentioned that you particularly like.
I mean, I kind of already mentioned the ones that I really liked. You know, with I really liked the melting effect from that one. I liked once you mentioned it, the party scene with the Cretans, and all of that was ridiculous and hilarious and was a lot of fun. And then I just liked Kevin the Duck when he mutated. I'd watch a movie
just about Kevin the Duck. Well, Lloyd is always really big on trying to create new characters. That's why he keeps trying to make Dolphin Man a thing.
See, I'd watch Kevin the Duck before I watch Dolphin Man.
I agree.
Kevin the Mutated Duck.
Hopefully, Kevin the Mutated Duck becomes a thing.
I hope so.
Like Toxic Avenger had a Saturday morning cartoon for kids.
Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders. I had no friends, no girls that hugged me till I got radioactive ugly. Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders. I live in the dump 'cause the ribs real low. Got a little black Bobby and he loves me so. Toxic Crusaders.
Anything can happen.
Hint at that, the Toxic Crusaders.
Yes, it's all on Amazon Prime.
Really?
You can watch Toxic Crusaders for free. But it's also probably on Troma's YouTube page because Troma gives away a lot of their movies for free.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Lloyd doesn't believe pirating's a thing. It just helps him, he says.
It's true. I mean, more people know about it, they'll seek out his other movies.
Yeah. But another dumb little joke I liked in part 1 is when the Cretans got all stuck trying to exit the door, and the lead Cretan just goes, "Rah!"
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, like, Class of Nuke, Return to Nuke 'Em High Volume 1 is always going to have a special place in my heart, just having, especially when I got to see it. I'm glad I got to see the whole story.
Especially at the same time.
But
it was better than just watching Volume 2 by itself.
I will say, after seeing, like, I haven't watched the trailer yet for it, but Lloyd just dropped a trailer for his new film, Shakespeare Shitstorm. Wow.
I'm excited just because Zach's in it.
Yeah, our friend Zach.
Not
Zach,
the other Zach.
Yeah, Zach Bassam from the band The Big Bad. They've got a scene in there, and maybe instead of our normal outro music, I'll play the audio for the trailer for Shakespeare Shitstorm for you.
Is there audio in the, or no?
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
we'll
okay.
find out. But like I said, I'm just glad that Lloyd wants to keep directing, and I've seen some screenshots from it, and there's some really artful looking stuff that they do, and they proved of Romeo and Juliet when they're aping a existing story, they can do something really good, really interesting. I'm trying to remember the story that Shakespeare Shitstorm is supposed to be spoofing. I think it's, hold on. I'm going to cut all this empty space out.
You usually say that and then you don't usually cut
No, I cut some of it out.
Oh. The stuff that I remember existing. I usually still hear in the final episode.
They called it a traumatized adaptation of William Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Okay.
So we've got that to look forward to, and I said if Lloyd actually ends up listening to this, he's just been a big influence in my life.
Yeah.
Like, he re-energized me a couple times in terms of filmmaking to just keep doing it. And in a weird way, he's also kind of the influence behind doing this podcast, because Lloyd's motto is just do something.
Right.
You know, if you can't do what you want to do something.
Right.
And happy birthday to the man himself.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Amanda?
I don't think so.
All right, where can everyone find you on social media?
Doggenstein on Instagram.
Yeah, our animals have got their own Instagram page, Doggenstein.
Or Amanda R. Viers, but there's significantly less activity there.
I don't know. If anyone listening, go throw both Amanda and our dogs a like and a follow. You can find me at Michael_. Wait, no. Just.
Did you forget your Instagram?
I forgot my Instagram handle. It's not Michael_Viers, I don't think. I think it's just Michael Viers. No, it is Michael_Viers. I was right.
I thought it was
so you can find me on Instagram at Michael_Viers, or you can find the show at Shameless Picture Show. And if you haven't already heard the news, we are officially on Spotify. So please like, rate, and review the show. Give us a follow on Spotify or your favorite podcasting app. Once again, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and we're still on SoundCloud. Oh, and we're also streaming directly to Libsyn. So give us a like. Make sure you share the episodes. Share it out so that way new people will discover how much they're going to like our show. That was very awkward. Once again, thanks to Kyle Arpke for this one. And if you're not down with that, I've got 2 words for you. Watch movies.